And again, not to like look. Obviously, I have a horse in the race as a Jew. I'll start by saying, I think not to play Sweden here, but like, obviously, I think it's important for Jews to have somewhere like a safe haven, but I don't
Sure.
think it's right to kill any innocent people. Um,
Oh,
but
hot
based on
take.
that,
What up, Jared?
Yo.
I saw Sean was posting that he got like COVID, so I don't know.
yeah, I was gonna say I feel like he's not like he's alive, but I feel like he's like
I don't know how.
he's going he's going through it. I feel so.
Yeah. Like if he shows up to podcast, I'd be like, I would be pissed if he was like, "Hey, dudes, I'm too sick to do this."
Yeah, I had a feeling he just wasn't like on socials or
Yeah. We'll
When I
see,
first time I had COVID, my throat was so sore I wouldn't have been able to do something like this.
bro. I just like energy wise was just like fucked up. Like I just
bro.
need to
For
lay in
me,
bed.
it was wild because it's like everyone has such a different experience. For me, it was over the course of 5 days. First day, just throw like a stomach flu, just throwing up and diarrhea nonstop. Second day, a
Oh,
little bit,
damn.
and then day like 3, 4, and 5, just progressively better. By day 5, I was like, I feel fine. But people are like, "Oh, I didn't have that," and I'm like, "Well, I had something. I don't know what the fuck I had,
Bro, the
Oh man.
hashtag COVID is not over is trending on Twitter right now. And I'm just like, oh my God,
here we go."
we need to stop this. Because it's always the same people that are
Of
tweeting
course.
about it, right? They got pink
Yeah.
hair, they're fucking a dog humping their leg, and they're
Oh my
like,
god.
it's
Dude,
fucking ridiculous.
I was the latest episode of the Boys Cast they were talking about. They
The
found
zero
this
COVID
subreddit.
community, bro. I went
Yeah,
right
yeah,
to that
yeah.
subreddit. I was gonna bring that
Bro.
up too.
Oh man.
This shit is so
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I feel like they said on an episode a while back, sometimes you see people like outside on their bike or maybe in a car by themselves, like
The
masked up
mask.
and everything. And it's like, we're never getting those people back.
No, they're gone.
Too far gone, dude.
Yeah.
I wonder though how many people like after the Spanish flu, like the same shit happened with them, where they were
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna keep cautious.
I mean, the crazy thing is they still died.
Yeah, like you're still gonna die. At least don't be scared. You know what I mean? Like
Oh
Just
man.
live.
I'd rather have a full life and be like, well, I had a great time up until the time that I caught COVID, and then I died from COVID. It's like at
At,
least I got to
back
party.
then, it was at like 23 too.
Yeah, like what? Yeah, for real. Like what was it? Like 19 early 1900s.
Yeah.
I take
I
great
don't know.
offense to like kids now calling. Did you hear about this? Like if you were born in the 1990s, they refer to that as the late 1900s, which I guess, but like there's
Sure.
just something so offensive about that to me. Like the
It just
late 1900s. Ugh,
Wow.
fuck
sounds
off.
like medieval times. Like it's
Yeah,
like
right? Like
back
what?
with the horse and carriages. Like
Yeah, we got to take that back. Be like, yeah, we lived in the good century. Good luck
Yeah,
with the next.
yeah.
literally, dude.
Yeah, 1900s were sick. That's when the most stuff happened.
Well, I think we really did grow up in like a peak time. I mean, music wise, I'm a big fan of like 70s, 80s music, but
Yeah,
like we
man.
still grew up being social and going outside and not just being on technology all the time. And then you have these kids born in like 2005, that
Bro.
2015, they're 10 years old, and like their life has just been on an iPad since they've been babies,
I call
you
them
know?
cocoa melon kids.
It's just
Yeah.
crazy.
I think we were at like the good, like the cusp of like
Yeah,
being able to experience just entertaining yourself with no like technology whatsoever. And then being so young that we could be able to see both sides of it evenly,
100%.
you know?
Same with like social media, even, man. I got Facebook when I was, I think, like 13. And even then, it was just like adding people from my class and writing on each other's wall, like, hey, I think you're cute.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like it wasn't I got Instagram like my first year of college to be like second year university. Like I and now you have like 13-year-olds fucking growing up on this shit and it's their life and it's like fuck.
And Instagram is all just like video now. It's not even like
Yeah,
really a lot of
pictures.
photos.
Yeah,
I remember like
it really.
picking, you got to pick the right filter for
Yeah. Oh
your
yeah.
Instagram
No,
photo.
Instagram is now just reposts of TikToks, which I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't get
Yeah.
it. Just go on TikTok then. No, I hate
Bro, I
TikTok.
have a
What?
spreadsheet with like all the different, like for this podcast, all of the different platforms that I like have to post on. I'm
Yeah,
doing air quotes there, but it's like you should post on them.
yeah,
And so I like make sure I check off all of them. But yeah, I'm just like recycling the content
100%.
because you don't know who's gonna like. I'm putting that shit on Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
just putting it everywhere.
The wild thing to me is not a lot of people I know are on Twitter, but like some of the best memes you see on Facebook and Instagram are from Twitter. So someone's like, "Oh, yeah, have you seen this?" I was like, "Oh yeah, that's old news on Twitter." They're like, "You have Twitter? Who's on Twitter?" I'm like, "You
Bro,
either are or you aren't." But it is the wild, wild west out there.
Twitter is
Yeah.
fucking nuts now, dude. Like every time I open that app, I see like a triple homicide. I'm like, holy fuck.
It,
Oh my
it
God.
is literally like the dark web for
It
when we were like
is.
growing up. Like you'll see people promoting OnlyFans and like not just hey check out my link, but like
Here's
they show you a
titties. Yeah, yeah,
preview.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
You'll see
Yeah.
people
crazy.
getting like the shit kicked out of them, people getting shot and stabbed. Like it is just yeah. Elon took over and he's like, all right, no holds barred. I'm opening
But
opening
then
the
if you go to
cages,
Yeah.
Threads is
floodgates.
hilarious because it's just people complaining about Twitter.
How much they hate Twitter? Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, saying like, "Oh, Twitter's a dead app." I'm like, it's never
Dude,
been more lively.
Yeah.
I
No,
feel like
yeah.
I feel like Threads is the like left wing echo chamber that Twitter
Yeah,
used to
yeah,
be.
yeah, yeah.
100%. 100%.
It's
Yeah,
wild.
yeah, yeah. It's all the maskers going over there. There's this crazy ass video that I was seeing on Twitter though of I think it was like probably like two rival cartels in like Mexico, and they're all these dudes are just standing outside of this bar, and it's clearly like a CCTV like footage like from like a pole higher up or whatever, and you see this car just drive by, like they do a drive by shooting, and they hit a couple people. They fall down but they're still alive. Those guys are like, okay, well, we're getting attacked, so they start pulling out guns and firing at this car backs up, like three dudes get out of the car with like assault rifles and just mow down whoever was at that bar. Like they didn't have a fucking chance. I was just like, I can't believe like I
Yeah.
can
Man.
what the news wouldn't even air this.
Yeah.
And it's just like on an app that you can just open at any time. I don't know how good that is for your brain. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
a little fucked. Like I'm a little scared. What's that gonna do to me? Like my sensibilities. Like because you just get I think it just numbs you to shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not good. I'm happy it exists, but it's not
Yeah.
good.
I think it's
Yeah.
so crazy that we came up with the internet, like we got to see the beginnings and the rise of it and stuff, but that type of stuff, ex, like exceptionally violent content and to a degree porn as well, I think really there's no metric for how that messes with a young person's mind because like
Mhm.
we're probably the first generation of adults that kind of grew up seeing that stuff. And I think the desensitization thing is interesting too, because you wonder like if you see a lot of really messed up photos and videos on the internet of say like surgeries and car accidents and stuff and all of this like gore, what's your reaction going to be like when you see somebody say like get like dismembered in a workplace accident? Like, will you be chill or will it be extra like mind blowing because
Right.
it's real? Like because that's the thing with the internet. Even though you know that you just watched a real person get killed, it
Yeah.
still doesn't have the same degree of reality.
Well, because it's like you see it and you're like, whoa, and then you go back to just, oh, right, I want to make a coffee, or like,
Yeah,
oh, what's
yeah,
on
Yeah,
TV?
yeah,
Let me
yeah.
check the news. Oh, I got
yeah.
to go
Or they're
back to
just
work.
like
I
you
gotta.
just swipe and the next video is like someone shaking their
That's what I
ass.
mean.
I think if anything, it'll increase people's ability, and I'm not saying ability is like in a good way, but it'll increase people's ability to dissociate. So like really
Mhm.
detach themselves from something
Yeah,
horrible that's happening. Now you can argue that that's like a good thing in a sense that like it will have less traumatized people because like if you can kind of see something traumatic but allow your brain to not like fully take in the trauma that you're witnessing, maybe it's better, but I don't know. I think it's also, if you're like a psycho, it's going to make like psychos and serial killers, it's going to make them a lot easier to kill people because
Yeah,
they're so
like
dissociated
this.
from what they're
Yeah,
doing and detached.
Yeah, I feel
So,
like anybody who's part of the some kind of like fringe like minority in terms of like criminals and stuff, I think it's a lot
yeah.
easier to go down the rabbit hole and like people who maybe would have become a murderer if they get into the right spheres on the internet maybe could be coerced easily. So like there's definitely
Yeah.
that effect. But it's interesting that the desensitization thing, you wonder like for better or worse that is happening. And there's an argument to be made on both sides. Like maybe uh Gen Z as adults will be really good at like compartmentalizing because you swipe on TikTok and you see like a really emotional video of some guy helping a homeless dude, and then your next video is like a joke post, and then the next one is like inspirational. And like I don't
right.
think our brains were built for that, but we're gonna just adapt, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't
I
know.
mean, like my brother always makes a fair point of whenever someone's like, "Oh, throw them off the app," we don't want them on the app, ban them forever. He's always like, I'm all for freedom of speech, but if someone's saying some crazy shit, whatever it may be, anti-Semitic, homophobic, Islamophobic, like, isn't it better that they do it and we're aware, okay, this is how this person feels, so
Yeah.
now I just don't want to associate with them, rather than having them kind of hide it and then in person you got what I'm saying? Like if someone's
Yeah.
posted
Totally.
online that
Bro,
they
think
hate
about
Jews and then they're going to shoot up a synagogue, it's like at least there's
at
evidence of like,
least,
okay, maybe we should track this guy.
yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
if it's just him in his friend's mom's basement and they're all talking about this, you know what I mean? Like
Well,
it's
think about
Yeah,
every
man.
time like a serial killer gets caught or somebody does something horrible. They
oh
always
yeah,
interview the neighbors, and the neighbors are always like, he was such a kind person. I
yeah,
never would have expected that he would do something like
Dude,
this. And
of
it's like,
course.
well, yeah, because he wasn't
yo.
posting about it. Like
Yeah, like
he
it's not
wasn't
like,
like,
hey
Imagine.
guys, I'm
good
gonna kill
morning,
somebody
John.
today.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on
What
my way
what
down to the hardware store, get some shovels. Bro,
some bleach.
imagine like a modern documentary where they're covering like a murderer and they're interviewing instead of the neighbors, they're like interviewing his Twitter followers
Yeah,
and they're all
yeah,
like,
yeah. You're like, oh, he
"Oh,
did
I
that shit.
100% saw this coming." Yeah,
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 no
yeah.
doubt in my mind. I was like, this
I
man is gonna
kept
kill somebody today.
I kept calling the FBI. They kept passing me through.
yeah.
They did not believe me.
Oh man.
Should we call Sean?
Should we all call him at the same time?
Simultaneously.
See, I think so.
I mean, I saw in the calendar invite he accepted it, but yeah, I saw him
Yeah.
posting. Like, I thought he was gonna message the group, uh, saying like, "Hey guys, I'm not feeling well, whatever." So when you sent that message, I don't have notifications on Instagram, so I just randomly open it,
Mm,
and I knew to
yeah,
check
I'm
it
the
'cause I,
same
I had a
way.
feeling you were gonna be like, "Hey, either are we all good?" or "Hey, I don't know if Sean's to do it. Maybe we'll postpone." So I was checking, but I don't
Because
know.
I only went through because I saw that he had yeah, I'm gonna call him.
But yeah, the good old vid is back. See, but then it makes me wonder, like, is the flu still around? Are
Yeah,
we just
right.
conflicting the two?
Ah, that's very true. See if he answers.
That's a whole can of worms.
And it's like maybe it is the same thing. I mean, like, because there's no cure for either of them.
You have reached.
Yeah.
Nah, no answer.
Ooh.
I got the voicemail. My guy might be knee deep in some chicken noodle soup right now.
Yeah. I mean, if he has a fever, he might even be balls deep.
Yeah.
That was a that was
Hey,
a
we
that
could
was a
do 130. We'll do change this to 113 for the three Northmen. No, keep it 114. I was telling Pat Jared before you came in here that this is gonna come out on the 29th. So I don't know if you
shit.
guys
Nice.
thinking like it's the end of the year. Like, do we talk about like year in review of like what 2023 was for each of us? Maybe like what we expect to happen in 2024. I don't know. Just
Yeah.
thoughts and ideas. Or we could
Yeah.
just read the zero COVID community on Reddit.
Oh my God, dude.
Just read subreddits.
Fuck.
It's a hoax.
Yeah, yeah. Holy shit. Yeah, just comment on their posts the whole
Oh
time.
man.
See how fast one of us gets banned. Just speed run the zero COVID community.
That's
Oh
funny.
man, you could probably get banned in like 2 minutes.
Oh, for sure. There's probably some crazy moderator that's checking that constantly.
Nothing better to do, eh?
Yeah, no. I don't know, man. 2023 for me was a lot of fucking ups and downs. A lot of like cool opportunity, and then like, oh fuck, what do I do now? And then cool opportunity, and then oh fuck, what do I do now?
Yeah.
It's a lot of ups and downs. I don't
That
know.
seems to be
2024
like
is looking good.
life.
Yeah,
Yeah, bro, I'm excited for the new year. Actually I have some exciting news. I
you're pregnant.
no, soon.
Hey.
Um, Recently I fully joined the actors union. Like I paid a shitload of money to join, but I was
Hell yeah.
eligible since November. I co-produced something with my buddy which he wrote and directed, and then I was in it to help get my demo up to date, but also to get my last credit. So yeah, I'm fully in the union. I know at this point, we're like what, 15 minutes in. She doesn't watch us anyways. I'm gonna be switching agents. um, yeah, just she's great, but I just feel like like in the need of a new direction maybe. So yeah, it's
Good
been overall
idea.
pretty good. I moved in with my girlfriend just over a month ago, and that's been great, right, honey? Um, but yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. I overall life's pretty good. Uh, Looking for a new agent in the union, living with my girlfriend. Some exciting updates. Yeah, 2024. Just want to get a new agent, and it's been like months now of me thinking about starting my own podcast, like an actors podcast.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
And it's like I don't know what's stopping me. Like I think it's just the idea of like I have so many great ideas about it, but I'm like, oh no, but I want this to happen and and it's like you got to just fucking do it and learn as you go. You know what I
Honestly,
mean?
man, yeah,
It's
that's like
like
what I found with this podcast. Like for years, I wanted to do just my own podcast, and I kept
yeah,
procrastinating in a sense by um trying to put off the work on other people. Even though
right,
I was doing all the work, I'd be like, well, I want to do a podcast, but like I should do it with like, these comedians, or like I should just
right,
help this person with their podcast. And all that was great learning for sure. Like it helped me flush out like ideas of what would work and what wouldn't work with those people. And
yeah,
that kind of helped me form a more like sustainable schedule for doing my own podcast. And now like it literally took me like 80 or 90 episodes before I got to the point where I have the editing down. Like
yeah,
I have like like this is getting really inside baseball, but I have like a whole template set up for every single show, so that all I need to do is just like plug in the different camera angles of like, if you're talking for a little while, going widescreen on you, and like coming back to the three of us, and like experimenting with different like lower thirds and whatever else too.
yeah.
But now I'm like, okay, I got a system down, and it takes me almost no time. Whereas before, it took so long to edit
Hours, right? Yeah,
and
man.
hours and hours and days to edit a single podcast. And then even
Yeah,
clips, like early days of making clips, dude, I was doing
man.
captions. Fucking, it would take me hours to do captions because I was doing word by word, typing out every
Hmm.
word people were saying. And then AI comes out with like its own auto captioning and like just saves me hours and hours of work. So it's like there's
Yeah,
shit like that too that you can use actually to your advantage. Like the setup for doing a podcast has never been easier.
right.
It's just
I
about
mean,
doing it.
and that's part of it is like I was even thinking like clips. How the fuck would I have to watch the whole podcast and then clip it? Like would I clap when someone says something I want to clip and be like, oh, don't worry about that. I'll just edit it out. Like I was like, how am I gonna know? And then yeah, just so many variables. Like I have the podcast with my brother and we haven't done one for a couple weeks now, and
Mm,
always every week we're gonna get ahead, we're gonna get
that
ahead, and
was
we just
me,
never
man.
do. And it's like because obviously life gets in the way, and I enjoy doing it, but when you have real life shit like I'm moving out and then I gotta work and make money. Like if it's
Yeah.
not, I've acting class twice a week. Like just certain things take priority, and it's not that I don't care, but it's like in the list of priorities, the
Yeah.
podcast with my brother isn't at the very very top, and that's something he hasn't heard before. He's very much so like whenever we do it, we do it. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, if I'm starting my own thing, I don't want to have momentum for a month and then fall off, and it's like how many people have a podcast? But then I think who gives a shit? How many
Yeah.
people
Yeah. Yeah.
have
Yeah.
so many different things. Like there's enough room for everybody at the top, and it's talking about being at the top as much as it is just literally having conversations with like fellow actors and artists and peers. And potentially I was even thinking like making connections. Maybe I reach out to a casting director
Honestly, dude, it's the best for
that
that.
just
Yeah.
wants to shoot the shit, and then they start bringing me in for auditions. So it's like there is no real downside aside from maybe my time, but it's like almost one of the best and easiest ways for me to network in the industry without being like, "Hi, I'm an actor. What's your name?" You
1,000%.
know?
A
So
thousand percent. Because now you open conversations by being like, you should come on my podcast.
that's it, man.
And you get
And
to
I,
hang
Yeah.
and talk for however long you want to talk for with no distractions. Like, dude, I fucking talked to Rick Campanelli for like 30
that's
minutes
we gotta talk
just
about
because I
that.
had
That's so
just
wild,
because I
bro.
had a podcast. Like I was blown away. I was like absolutely blown away that he said yes. I'm blown away a lot of the times when people say yes if they want to do the
Yeah,
podcast. Because to me, it's just like this dinky little show that I just started out of the like office with you guys. You know what I mean? Like you guys were some of the
yeah,
first like episodes to just like get the ball rolling. But I think what you need to like make you want to do the podcast is it has to be like exciting for you.
right,
Like you have to be excited to want to talk to people and like you have to it has to be something that you like look forward to doing. Similar to getting an acting gig, like, oh, I can't
right,
wait to get on set and like read these lines and whatever. So and that's the beautiful thing about podcasting is it's like you get to sculpt it into
hundred
whatever
percent.
brings you the most joy, basically.
And that's kind of where I think, like with my brother, I love just the same way I'm shooting the shit with you guys. That's what we do. We just literally talk and catch up and have fun. We very rarely even have guests anymore. I used to be like, we need guests. That's what's gonna make it interesting. And he's like, we don't, but okay. Like you literally just talk to.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
like, we can just
Yeah.
talk the two of us, right? Like if you look at like Tuesdays with Stories, like Mark Norman and Joe List, sometimes they have guests, sometimes they don't. Like
Mhm.
it's just people find them entertaining. So not necessarily people find us entertaining, like my brother and I, but it made me realize like you don't need people aren't always coming back for the guests. They're usually coming back for the host.
Mhm.
You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, but yeah, man, the Rick Campanelli thing, when I saw, I was like, holy fuck. Like, sometimes you and Sean post some of your guests, and I'm like, wow, good for them. Like,
It's just reaching out, dude. Like
that's
that
it.
I've sent so many Instagram DMs to just like random people and like I'll get put on red and no reply like
Right.
and there's people that I honestly thought were like people that would say yes but then just like couldn't like they just couldn't do it and you have to
Right.
just kind of be like that's okay. All right. Bye. Like
Yeah.
I'm not going to name any names but like people we know I've
Do
asked
it.
to like be on the show and they're just like I can't sorry, I just don't have the time. And then like you have to
Yeah.
just kind of be like, all right, that's cool. Like no offense taken whatsoever. I'm just shooting my shot with like
Sean.
whoever. Yeah, Sean. Sean Sirianni of the Creative Balance. Too big for us now,
Oh
eh,
man.
bro? You get a little bit of COVID and you it goes right to your head.
He's big time now.
He's just sick.
Yeah, he's probably like the moderator on that that COVID thread.
Yeah.
Oh,
It is
man.
real.
Yeah, it's funny, the whole concept with the guests. I feel like I always watch the boys cast and I prefer the episodes where they don't have guests, but they have a really good formula, just like, covering like current events and funny Reddit stuff. And I feel
Right.
like that stuff doesn't happen as much when they have a guest because they get off on these tangents and stories, and
For sure.
those sometimes are great, but it's one of those things like it almost changes the format when you have a
Mhm.
guest on because it's just if it's a podcast with two people, then when as soon as you introduce a third party, it's got a different dynamic for better
100%.
or worse.
You
But it's
would love the
funny.
boys cast, Jared.
Oh, bro, it's hilarious.
Is that who's on that one?
It's Ryan
Ryan
Long
Long,
and Danny
Danny
Polishchuk.
Polishchuk.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, I know Ryan because of you. Like, know of him. I haven't met him, but I know of him because of
Yeah.
you. And yeah, some of the stuff online has been very funny. So,
Dude, their
Man.
opening sketches
Yeah.
kill me. They're so fucking good. Like Ryan's a drummer too, so like even his comedy, it like has to have like beats to it, you'll notice. There's like certain marks that he hits in like the way he's talking or the points that he's making, and it's all like done on purpose. So it's like nice to see like someone taking comedy like seriously in that sense. Like he's like,
right,
yeah, it's got to be good if I'm gonna like put it out. I'm not just gonna put anything out because I need to
right.
feed the algorithm or whatever.
Interesting.
And it's
Yeah,
always
he
good
definitely
takes.
is good delivery. I've seen his stand up and it's I mean, it's funny. Like what else can you say, right?
Yeah, yeah. Funny and informative.
Oh, I was gonna say the issue you were talking about, Jared, of like I know how it is when you have an idea and you think of all of these things that'll like get in the way or whatever. The idea for when to clip, like, oh, should I clap or whatever? If
Yeah,
you could probably just like run a timer on your phone and then just hit lap whenever there's like a funny moment that you think you'd want to clip, and then you could check the timer later when you're editing.
that's very smart.
But it's
That's
funny,
smart.
I wanted to expand on that because my 2023 has been like super mellow. I've my like if Johnny's year has been like a spiking graph, mine's just kind of been like flatlined. Like I haven't really been up to anything. And I don't think that's a bad. Things are pretty good. But
Yeah,
I have a lot of ideas and stuff that I want to get rolling in the next year. And it's so funny. I had this thought the other day. I realized like I have this habit of like, I wouldn't call it self-sabotage, but like you can think yourself out of an idea. You
yeah.
have this idea and you can like piece by piece go through all these things, and it's almost better to just not even just don't think about it, just start, and then those things will come up one at a time, because like it's so easy, I think, to just like convince yourself of like, yeah, it would probably be too much work.
Why you shouldn't do it? Yeah,
Bro, that was
man.
me with
Yeah,
producing songs. I
Yeah.
was like, I wasn't even thinking about it for
yeah.
half a second. And I go back and listen to my early stuff and I'm like, oh, this is trash. But I'm like, whatever, like it's out. You know what I mean? Like I had the courage to just like release it.
Yeah.
At least I like did that versus just doing nothing. I never would have known. You never would have been able to see where you come from if you don't just do it.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. And then once you get that, you can kind of feel like, oh, I'm actually getting better at this because you have that
Yeah.
framework. I want to like start making like short form content around gaming, and I feel like I'm so intimidated by the idea of editing, because like the few things that I've done messing around on the computer with editing stuff, it's just like so quickly you're just like, oh my God, how do I select this thing? Like I can't even move this clip, and then you're like Googling how to
YouTube,
make this
bro.
program work.
YouTube's your best
Yeah, yeah,
friend.
yeah, yeah.
I when I used to edit my own YouTube videos, this guy Justin Odisho was like the king of Premiere Pro or whatever you use, but I use
Yeah.
Premiere Pro. Dude, anything I needed to figure out, he would have a tutorial on. And he didn't have that many followers when I first started, and now he's got, I'm sure hundreds of thousands, but I was like, he deserves it. Like he helped me figure out how to key shit, how to, speed shit up, slow shit down, slow-mo, add this, add that. And it's like, yeah, man, YouTube. I'm honestly even curious if like Chat GPT would be good with tutorials of like, I'm using Premiere Pro. How do I do X, Y, and Z? And I'm wondering if it would be like, go to settings, go to this,
Yeah,
click this. Like, I've
probably.
never thought about that, but
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, it could go either way. I've asked ChatGPT a few times for help with programs like Windows stuff or
yeah,
whatever, and I find sometimes it's not up to date.
mm,
Like, because these websites,
constantly,
Samsung is like notorious for this. They'll like update the software, and now all the settings, everything's organized differently.
right.
It's like they don't want you to be able to find the setting you need, you know? It's like, what the hell?
Like just suffer.
Yeah.
Bro, I honestly switched from, well, the reason was I was using Premiere Pro, but then the like upgraded version wasn't compatible with like the Windows that I had, so it would just like
Yeah.
crash constantly and I was just so frustrated. And the first few episodes of this podcast were all edited using Premiere Pro. And then I did an episode with Michelle Christine, and she was telling me that for her like travel vlogs, she uses Filmora, and I'd never heard of Filmora before. And now I exclusively edit everything with Filmora because it's just like it's such a nice like basic editing program where
Yeah.
you can still do a lot of stuff with it, but it's less complicated. Like
Yo.
it's right there. It's like I would check that one out if anything.
Is this
And they
an
have a
ad read right now?
yeah.
I'm
Use
just
promo
messing.
code Johnny Rogers Show. Should I just go into an ad read?
Oh
Is it,
man.
how much is it?
I think it's like $46 a year. Like it's like
Oh,
pretty
wow.
affordable. Like you
Yeah.
pay
Cause dude,
once for like the
Adobe,
whole year.
Hmm.
Adobe's fucked.
it's like $50 a month. I mean, to be fair, I use Audition
Crazy.
as well for like voiceover stuff,
Mm,
but, and yeah, it's a write off, but still, like, it's still
yeah.
$50 in my pocket that I'd rather not be
Yeah.
spending. But,
I'm
Filmora,
like
right?
jealous of people that have like the new Photoshop because the new Photoshop has AI generative fill. So it's so
Yeah.
like that's so sick. I'm like the amount of
So
times I would
ridiculous.
use that, it's just unreal. But I'm like, I don't want to pay for that shit. I'll wait till there's a
Yeah.
torrent out and then I'll
I was
just
gonna say,
download
bro, Pirate
it.
Bay, come on.
The only problem with Pirate Bay is like you can't update anything, or like
Right.
you lose the key and then the whole thing is fucked. So it's just like, I don't know.
The crazy thing is, I remember uh, people that we know would use torrents, wouldn't they?
We know.
Certain industry people.
Yeah, like at a
Oh yeah,
That
yeah,
would-
yeah, yeah, for sure. They were running off fucking 2014
which is
Photoshop's
crazy to
nuts.
me.
The amount
Man.
of work that they were doing on like old ass like Premiere Pro, I was like, God damn, just
And
pay for the
I could
upgrade.
be wrong, but I'm pretty sure like people would be like, it sucks because like it would randomly crash in the middle of something, and I'm like, that's so wild.
Oh man.
Not a real business.
Oh my god.
That's all I'll
Yeah, no,
say about
I don't
that.
wanna, I don't wanna say anything like
No,
too
I hope everybody's well.
specific.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no man, it's just wild to me that I remember hearing that. Again, I was never an editor, I was never in the editing side. I just heard things, but like
I
fuck.
saw I saw the because it was on like one of the computers I was working on, and I opened it to do my own editing, and I was like,
Yeah.
the fuck is this
Yeah, bro.
like old ass like Premiere Pro doing here? Like, god damn, it's 2018. Get off this shit.
Fucking crazy, but funny for sure.
I wrote like a whole after I left, I wrote like a whole video script exposing content farms, and I never did it because I was like, do I want to like make this video? But like I keep going back at it and like tweaking it because it's
You're like,
like
we'll
it's
figure it.
fucked. Just like, I'm like one
I
day,
think if
one day I'll make
you
this video.
I think if you were to not name any names or mention any
Yeah,
groups, you could maybe reference things like Watch Mojo so viewers know the kind of thing you're talking about.
it's
I
more
think
so
I think you
like
can make that work without stepping on any toes. It's an interesting
yeah,
concept for a video.
it's more so like here's my personal experience working for content farms because it was
Ah,
beyond just that studio. I worked for another content farm where I was like, oh, you guys are just trying to get money.
right.
It's not necessarily like about the content at all. You're
You
trying to
could do
tap
it
into a genre to
do,
maximize the amount of return.
do it anonymously, change your voice, and then be
And
like,
then post it to my channel.
yeah, be like, I'm Johnny
Like
Rogers and I got
I
this
interviewed
exclusive
someone.
interview. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it'd
yeah.
be like
Interview myself. That's
the
so
old
funny.
like the old A&E interviews like with like the leader of the Ku Klux Klan. It's all black and like it's all dark on
Yeah.
him, and he's just like, yeah. So
Yeah.
we used to go on these rallies and we'd go after people.
Yeah, yeah.
Yo,
Yeah,
I
if
could
you're
just get a
interviewing
stand-in.
yourself.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
I could just get a stand-in though to be
Holy
like sit
shit.
in like a shadowy corner
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah,
just
yeah.
throw my voice into it.
Who like doesn't even look like you. Or better yet, getting the
Yeah, that'd be
stand-in,
great.
get the stand-in to read your stuff
Yeah.
and modulate their voice. Yo, here you go. Okay, so you can't air this episode, but you
Yeah,
can do
this
this
episode's
idea.
a write-off.
This
Not
episode is
airing this
just
whatsoever.
we're just coming up with fun ideas. None of it's to be taken
Yeah, I'm
seriously.
just spitballing here, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh fuck.
Who knows? Maybe somebody will actually reach out to you about content farms, and that'll be what happened.
Yeah, Schmonathan Rogers, man.
You can't deny
Holy
lived
crap.
experiences.
No, no, no. One day I'll make it. One day I'll make that video, and you guys will be like, "Oh shit, it's premiering." Did you call Sean?
No, someone was calling me. And I tried to just ignore it, and then for some reason it answered the phone. So I was like, it was like an 888 number. It was like an
Isn't that the
automated.
best?
Yeah.
Holy fuck! I keep thinking, because you know everybody has like those stupid like New Year's resolutions. It feels pointless at this point because we all know nobody ever sticks to the resolutions. But I heard, I don't know if you guys know Patrick Bet David. I heard him
Yeah,
talking.
yeah.
He owns the Yankees, and he's like some like he has a podcast that's like become pretty huge now too. And he like made a really good point. He's like, instead of like a resolution, look at like he looks at like even his life like it's a business, which I think is great too. But he's like, look at two things that you're consuming right now in your life that's like slowly killing you, and see if you can just eliminate those two things for the next year. And I'm like, that to me seems like a better, instead of like a resolution, which is like, I'm going to start doing X, look at what you're already doing and be like, what's hindering my progress? And how do I take that out? Like, how do I eliminate that from my like
Right.
daily life? So for me, for 2024, and I'm saying this on the podcast so that I am held accountable to it.
Oh
I'm
shit.
I am eliminating vaping, which is why I'm vaping like a fucking madman for the rest of December. I'm eliminating vaping, and I'm gonna stop drinking soda of any kind. Just taking
Mm,
that right out because
nice.
I am a Coca-Cola fiend. I
Oh,
fucking
dude.
love
I'm
Coca-Cola.
a fan too, man. My girlfriend
I
got me to start
love
drinking
it.
Coke Zero, and she's like, "It
Uh,
tastes the same," and I'm like,
No,
"It
it doesn't.
doesn't."
it
But
it
It
does
really
not, dude.
doesn't.
It does not.
Synthetic
I've
Coke.
yeah,
Yo,
I've
you
been
guys,
drinking it, but like it's not.
you should definitely do it. When I had my appendix out, I had like kind of really weird feelings in my stomach all the time, and I was on like an elimination diet for a while just so that digestion was easier. So I like
Yeah.
stopped drinking all kinds of soda, and I found like I can't go back now. Even like ginger ale, I like drink it, and I'm like, bro, this is so sweet. Like, oh no. It's
It's
wild.
good
Like
for you.
I'll drink like sparkling water now, like bubbly or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that fills the void. But even that, it's like, I don't know, man.
You're kind of like,
But I
what's the
don't know.
point? Why am I even
Yeah,
doing this? Yeah.
yeah, I feel like I drink more beer now though. So it's like kind of balances out, right?
Yeah, you fill the vice with something else. You're like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
whatever.
You just keep juggling different ones.
Yeah, that's the thing with comedy too. Is like a lot of the shows that I do, they're like, yeah, you get a free drink or whatever, a free beer, and so I'm like, all right, well, I'm not gonna turn down a fucking
I'm not gonna say
free
no.
drink.
You're like, can I have a Coca-Cola instead?
Yeah. They're like, no, it has to be alcohol. You gotta be fucked up before you get on stage.
Oh man.
That's
But
great.
yeah, that's good resolution. I think
Yeah.
you might be putting a lot on your back doing two at the same time, but go for it, dude. Why not?
Here's the thing. I think that one feeds the other because this is what I noticed about smoking cigarettes was like
Mm,
every time when I'd be working at Sunset Grill in Toronto, I'd step out, have a cigarette, and then when I came back in, I had this like strong urge to grab a Coke from the fridge there and just crack that
yeah,
bitch open.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was like one
bro.
thing led into another. And then when I'd get home, I'd want to rip a bong. And then like I'd
Yeah,
want to, it just like they fed into the next thing. Cause I think what it is without like discipline, it makes it easier to just do the next thing because you're like, well,
yeah,
whatever. Like I've
And
already
it's like
done
habitual
this.
almost, man.
bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like an instinct. You leave work and have a smoke
Yeah.
right away, even though like you don't even
Yeah.
crave it. You know what's crazy? We're talking about this. I think this relates to what we were talking about with social media and desensitization and stuff. I think that's actually the big danger of all the social media stuff is I think like Gen Z and even their kids as adults are probably going to be really prone to this just like knee-jerk behavior of just like, oh fuck it, yeah, I'll have a beer and then I'll hit my vape and then I'll smoke some weed and then I'll go on TikTok or worse, I'll go on Tinder and start like sending crazy shit to chicks like and it's
Yeah.
just like at a certain point you know when you're kind of like messed up, you've been drinking and stuff, and you're like screwing around on your phone or whatever, and like an hour has passed, and you're like, what did I even just do for an
Mm-hmm.
hour? Like,
Mm-hmm.
bro, I feel like that's
Yeah.
going to become the new addiction is like being addicted to being like zoned out and just like dialed into your bullshit. Like not even just your phone, but like anything,
Yeah, just
Like I
like
think there's
wasting time.
yeah. Like there's a difference between, reading a newspaper or like doodling on a piece of paper than like, watching reels or whatever. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I think you
I
guys
know
know
what
what
you
I mean.
mean. Like even when I think about like the two specific things, vaping and drinking Coke, I think about beyond just like the mild satisfaction I get from those things. I think about how much of my brain space those two things take up. Because
Yo,
if I leave the house without my vape, I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta go back and get that.
yeah.
Like it's like all I'm thinking about. Or if I'm out and I'm like, oh, I'd love a Coca-Cola right now, then
Hmm.
my brain just becomes like, how do we get that? And that's
Fixated.
all I'm
Yeah.
thinking about. I'm fixated on that thing. Or oh
And
shit, like my pods are getting low. Like I gotta find a
yo,
fucking gas station to get my
that's
fix. Like
Where's the
that's
gas
kind
station?
fuck.
of
Sir, where's the nearest gas station?
I feel like that's an evolutionary thing too. We're used to like this feeling of like, oh, the food stores are getting low, like I'm gonna have to hunt again. And so that to consume your mind is natural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's so true, dude. If you're in the shower and you're thinking, bro, I can't wait to get out of the shower and take a big hit off of my bong, you're not thinking about what you're gonna do with your day. in the
Yeah.
shower, which fine, whatever. You can progress through your day however you want. But I think that the high-powered billionaire business guy who's really busy all the time, he's like 3 steps ahead all the time when
Right.
he's in a meeting, he's already thinking about his strategy for the business call he's going to make later on. Like he's like dialed in. And I think it's all subjective, but I think there's an argument to be made that it's a lot harder to be like laser focused like that if you're
100%.
going back and forth between the vaping and the drinking and whatever, and anything really, even if you're just addicted to like social media and you're like you can't wait to scroll on your phone for 30 minutes when you wake up instead of just getting out of bed. Like we all do it, and I think that we also all feel like, man, oh, this is a waste of time, like I gotta get up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing, is we all beat ourselves up and we all do the same exact shit.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Bro, that's my New Year's resolution, is to stop kicking my own ass for that stuff and just
yeah.
try to like move past it right away.
You
Like
were
when you
talking
catch
about
yourself doing
dwell.
it, just move on. Yeah, don't dwell. Exactly.
you were talking too about like you can think yourself out of like doing something. I really learned that with like car sales. You can actually talk yourself out of a deal. Like
Right.
I've
Interesting.
if like just literally talking too much. Like I've
Right.
really, like, this job has really taught me to, say something and just kind of sit there in the silence and just let them, like, if they have a
Yeah.
question, then they'll bring it up, but like let them
Yeah.
think about whatever this is, because it's like it's a major thing. Like these cars that these people are buying, it's a huge purchase.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like you don't want to overwhelm them with too many things and talk yourself out of like selling this vehicle to this person. And I think that can go for a lot of stuff that you want to just do in your life. You can talk yourself out of doing something very
Right.
easily. And it's like, how does that benefit anyone?
Yeah, the sales thing is so interesting to me, like the psychology of it. Like you have to put the ball in their court sometimes, but you don't want them to feel like they have to make a decision right now.
Right.
You want them to be in that sweet spot where they're comfortable looking at your wares. They don't feel like, oh, I'm gonna have to get out of here. Like too much pressure and they want to leave. Not
Yeah.
enough pressure and they might not even get interested in the product. And so you have to keep them in this sweet spot. And it's like it's not easy to do, right? It's this balancing act. But it's really interesting to draw a comparison between that and you motivating yourself, because it is similar. Like, if you just beat yourself up all the time, then you're going to be like, fuck it. But if you're like never beating yourself
100%.
up, then you're going to be like, oh bro, I'm good. So it's interesting. Like you have to find that fine line between encouraging yourself and reminding yourself of what's going to happen if you don't do anything, like,
Yeah,
which
100%.
is easier said than done for sure.
And I always, like, whatever job I do, I always like gamifying the job, like thinking about like, how can I use the skills I'm learning here to like better my own life, basically.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it can be so dull, just like working a 9 to 5. It can be like extremely
Yeah.
boring, if you're not finding some way to get something out of it other than just money.
Yeah. If you can find a way to put yourself in like unique situations and stuff at your workplace too, where you're just like having new experiences, like it's so much more interesting and you actually feel like you're growing.
Yeah. I feel like the title for this episode, tell me if I'm wrong, but it should be like desensitized or like desensitization. I feel like we talked a lot about that. I'm always thinking about like, what's the one word going to be
The
for
word.
this?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. I think that's a good one. I feel bad that Sean wasn't able to come in this conversation.
I mean, I'm so desensitized, bro. It doesn't mean anything to me.
I didn't realize he wasn't here.
I forgot he wasn't here.
Didn't even realize.
I'm just having podcaster guilt.
No, but I do hope. I mean, I hope he's
Oh.
okay. Look, he's not dying. I just know like sometimes it sucks. I mean, COVID or not COVID, dude. Like when I was younger, I used to get strep throat all the time. That sucks. Like any kind of illness, even when you have a cold and your nose is running, you're like, I was so ungrateful for the times that my nose wasn't running. What is life like
man.
without this?
Bro, every time I was sick, I thought about that. I'm like, man, like I took being healthy for granted so
Right?
hard. Like
Dude.
those days where I just casually, like, not a sniffle, nothing
Yeah.
going on, like fucking took that.
My
all
nose
for
wasn't
granted.
burning all the time because it was so dry. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, man.
And then every time, man, a few months later, you're pushing it to the limit and you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, I could have another beer.
You're like, I'm gonna get sick now. Yeah.
Yeah, we all
Oh,
just
man.
get COVID after this.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Imagine if it could be spread through podcasting.
oh man,
Bro.
fucking the Daily Beast would be all over that shit. Like podcasting, the new COVID super spreader.
The Daily Beast.
Oh, jeez.
It's so great seeing like a lot of these, like, especially with the whole like Israel Palestine conflict, seeing all of these like people that had such a hard stance on something, just watching the snake eat its own tail. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
dude.
just like calling for like censorship when they're like, weren't you just like, were you just against that? And now you're calling, like, on both
Oh,
sides, like
man.
on the right and on the left,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
the right's calling for censorship. I'm like, I thought you were anti-censorship. And then
Yeah.
like, oh, it's fucking crazy. Michael Rappaport's got to be the craziest Instagram follow right now. Like that guy has just gone full
Off the
support,
rails.
full support of Israel. Like he doesn't give a fuck at all, which
Yeah.
I get. I mean, he's Jewish. Like I totally get it. But like, and then you see people who are Jewish, like defending like Hamas, and you're just like, oh my God. Like it's really throwing the cultural zeitgeist for a loop right now.
Yeah, I actually think it might be good for the internet to, well, it's like we finally have an issue that has like some nuance where you can't just put a stamp up and say
Yeah.
I support
Right.
blank without having to have a conversation.
That's Ryan's
'Cause-
sketch too. Is so good.
Like you can't, like so many of these issues you can just, you throw a flag in your bio and you're
Yeah.
like, I'm good. Like
That's that. Yeah.
ever
Good to
since the
go.
black square,
Yeah.
we've
yeah.
kind of felt like, yeah, bro, you throw the badge of honor up and then you're a good person.
Wipe your
Yeah.
hands clean of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But with this one thing, it's like, shit, I actually have to do some research. It's like, you know what? I'm back to not caring.
yeah,
But that's
yeah,
bro, that's the problem is like people don't fucking do the research and they just post shit.
Oh,
And, like,
yeah.
it's what's crazy to me, bro, is like the amount of, and like I saw it firsthand, man. Like you guys hear about the girl from Scream, the lead girl.
Oh yeah,
No.
yeah.
So she posted something. I think I could be wrong, and Johnny, maybe you'll correct me if you know. But she pretty much posted something saying like what Israel's doing is comparable to how Germany treated the Jews during the Holocaust. And like Hollywood, like everyone says, run by Jews. They drop
Is
her
it,
from the
Jared?
film. They're like, I mean,
Jews
look,
are like, wait, are we the baddies
Jared's
now?
like, I would be much further along if it was
right?
by
Like that's what I'm
Jews.
saying. It's like if that's the case, I
Holy
should not be
shit.
struggling right now as an actor.
Yeah.
Man.
But no, they dropped her from the film, and then it came out that Jenna Ortega dropped out of the film as well. And people were like, "Oh, it's so great of Jenna Ortega. Like she's supporting her co-star, this and that."
Mhm.
And I'm like, "Did she really drop out of Scream because of that?" And then I look it up, and it's like 3 months ago, Jenna Ortega not filming Scream due to a filming conflict with Wednesday season 2. So I'm like, people are running
Wow.
with this narrative
Yeah,
that she dropped out of the film to support her co-star when the reality is 3 months ago she already announced this. But again,
Crazy.
people were just taking the story and running with it. No one's looking into anything.
Yeah.
So it's
Man.
like,
There is.
regardless, that
If you guys want to
conflict-
check this out, I just learned about this. Like, if you're interested in the like learning about the conflict whatsoever, I'm only on like the second episode of it because like each episode is like fucking 5 hours long. But it's called it's a podcast called Fear and Loathing in the New Jerusalem. It's like 6
I
parts.
thought you were going to say facts with Ben Shapiro.
I
so care about your
Have you
feelings.
guys heard this this Ben Shapiro podcast? No, it's called Fear and Loathing in the New Jerusalem. The craziest thing was it came out in like 2015 when there was like conflicts happening back then too.
Yeah.
So he's kind of doing this in light of those conflicts, but everything he's saying is so like applicable to what's happening today too, which I just found like fascinating. But he goes like deep into the history of this territory and like why like Arabs and Jewish people didn't hate each other always. You know what I mean? Like there were times where there was like peace with each other. What happened was it was colonialists like coming into that area and during World War I promising land to everybody just to get their support. Like they told they told France, hey, help us with this war and you guys get Syria. And then they told the Zionists, hey, help us with this war and you get Israel. We'll give you that homeland. Not telling them or even knowing that there were people already living there.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like the guy that started Zionism had never been to Israel. He had never been there. He just was like, yeah, this is our homeland. Like I'm not even gonna see if there's anybody living there right now.
You guys gave me your word.
That's so crazy. And then they just went there and they're like, oh, this isn't gonna work. Like these people don't want us like coming in here, but like,
Yeah.
well, the British promised us that this was ours, so like, yeah, hell, like let's just take it, I guess. And you had
Yeah.
like those kind of conflicts happening again and again and again and again. And then on top of that, you have they have social media as a tool, both sides, to
Yeah.
just propagandize like whole
Mhm.
mass groups of people. So you don't even
Yeah.
really know what to believe currently on what's happening. I mean, look what happened with Russia and Ukraine. You had a missile just like go like I think it hit some farm in like Poland. Do you guys remember this? And then right away, without even looking into it, Zelensky's like, "Oh, that was Russia. They're moving in on Poland." And then it turned out it was one of their own troops had fired a missile by accident, and it
Hey,
hit
my
some
bad.
farmer. And yeah, sorry guys,
Yeah.
like, fuck. But that
But even
ramped up the
that,
fear. Like,
even
oh,
that could be media spin, right? Like
exactly.
we
Yeah,
don't really
who the
know.
fuck
So,
knows?
and again, not to like, look, obviously I have a horse in the race as a Jew. I'll start by saying, I think not to play Sweden here, but like, obviously I think it's important for Jews to have somewhere like a safe haven, but I don't think
Sure.
it's right to kill any innocent people. Um,
Oh,
but
hot
based on
take.
that, based on that,
Sorry.
like, I
I think
remember.
babies should be alive. That's
I
a
remember a couple weeks ago, there were these claims immediately that like Israel blew up a hospital in Gaza, and all these news stations ran with it. And then Israel's like,
Instantly.
I don't think we did
no.
that. Like, I'm pretty sure we didn't fire in that area. And then it turns out Hamas accidentally, like one of their missiles fell and hit the
Yeah.
hospital or something. And then it's just radio silence. People were like, "Oh, it was Hamas." Anyways,
Yeah,
in
yeah,
news now
yeah.
with Kim Kardashian, and it's like, well, hold the
Yeah.
fuck on! Like, you
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
just
yeah.
say
Well, that
that.
was like the beheaded babies thing too.
Yeah,
An Israeli journalist overheard some IDF soldiers talking about beheaded babies, and
Yeah.
she just said on air,
yeah,
"We're getting reports that it's this. No evidence. Nobody wants to see that evidence
no, of
either,
Yeah.
right?
course.
Like that's horrific to even be like, we should see this to prove if it's real. Nobody wants to fucking see that. The craziest thing to me is they keep talking about like how Hamas has these like tunnels and shit that
Yeah,
are
yeah.
built under the hospitals. But then,
They're called subways.
yeah, like apparently, like the Israeli government, they know about these tunnels because they built those tunnels, and that's how they know about the tunnel system is because they helped them build these tunnels because the whole before they like the territories were like fighting with each other, they were helping like the Palestinians kind of like have a hospital, have a schooling system, like
Yeah,
trying to like have a society there where it's not complete chaos all the time, right? And so it's like, well, it's there. And then I heard this other like rumor that like it's Benjamin Netanyahu, right? Who's like the
yeah.
the leader over there. Apparently, he was like sending money to Hamas to this could be a huge conspiracy theory, but trying to in the same way that like the CIA, trained Osama bin Laden and then he
Right.
used that training against us eventually,
Right.
right? They're
At
saying that
least that's
like
the story.
that's the story, right? That we hear, which you're like, okay, sure, that's a story. They're trying to apply that same logic here,
Right.
saying that he wanted to arm them to provoke them and give them the power to attack Israel. He's
Right.
like, we're going to lose some people, but it's going to
It
give us
gives
the
us a reason.
opportunity to come in. Same reason
Mm.
why Hitler blew up that art museum to fire up his base to go into World War II, because nobody
Right.
in Germany wanted to go to war. But he's like, I'll just blow up this building and tell them that it was those people that did it, and suddenly everyone will want to go to war. Like it's a
Right.
pretty good. The Bay of Pigs. That was something that
Yeah.
America was trying to do to
Yeah,
fight
yeah.
with Cuba, right? Like
Cuba, yeah.
we know that this is a tactic, a military
Mhm.
tactic that's been used over and over and over again, because most people don't want to go to war. Like the Vietnam War was the biggest example of that. They're like, why am I going to Vietnam to kill
Right.
random people? Like,
Mhm.
what? Why? And they couldn't provoke us enough to like really stay in that war.
Mhm.
So I don't know. It's like there's a lot of fucking. I don't think we will ever know until like 20 years later.
And that's the thing is like
Yeah.
it's I mean, even with like the whole thing with was it Afghanistan, I believe, in Bush, like that whole thing, how they said it was for
Mm.
oil. Like you never
weapons of
really
mass
know.
destruction that they never
Yeah,
found.
you
Like,
never really know
Yeah.
what's going down. It's kind of like what you hear, and then an ex-employee will expose them, but then it's like, are you just doing this because you're disgruntled, or is this actually a true story?
yeah,
You know what I mean? So yeah, all in all, it's terrible. I don't know. A big thing for me is just like, I don't know, my friend showed me this, and it was kind of funny. It was this, of all people, he looked like a Trump supporter. Like it was like your
yeah.
typical like Southerner guy in a truck with a beard, and he has this video, and he's just like, you know what? He's like, we're gonna talk about the conflict today. He's like, we're gonna open our textbooks. I'm gonna teach you guys a class. Today's chapter is called Common Sense. He goes, when did we start taking the word of terrorists over a government?
Oh man.
And I'm like, oh, that's a good point. Like it is a
But like,
terrorist.
I would argue that like
Yeah.
terrorism is anyone who inflicts like fear on a people,
Yeah.
you know, through
Right.
force.
Fair. Fair.
Well, that's
So
it.
government, you could call them a
Could be
terrorist
considered
organization.
100%.
You know,
100%.
Well, that's exactly right. You know, in the Star Wars films, to the Empire and planets controlled by the Empire, the rebels are terrorists.
Right.
And likewise, if you're one country and you're stable and you're warmongering, like maybe let's say the US, and another country has an uprising in that country, those people are insurrectionists or something, right? They're not freedom fighters. And it's like, I really thought that the internet would be the death, or at least the slow death of the media spin, but it's like that's so
Amplified it,
naive of
man.
me because it's worse. Yeah. Like even
Yeah.
the Gaza hospital thing you were talking about, I saw an
Yeah.
article come out that said previous articles were using photos from like years prior
Oh, bro,
of
I
destroyed
see.
buildings and
yeah,
stuff because they need a
just random
picture,
destroyed
right?
buildings. Yeah,
That's one thing about Twitter that I love, man, is like
The
people
community notes.
yeah, bro, for
yeah,
both
yeah,
sides.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
someone will be like, here's an Israeli soldier, like shooting at kids, and then it'll be like, this is a photo from 2006.
Yeah.
Like the
This
kids
is actually from the set of a short film.
you know what I mean? Like literally I
No,
saw something like
it'd be
that. Like
so crazy though if they were like, no. This is
this is
IDF soldiers killing people from
2006.
2006.
Yeah.
Like it's still horrible, but they're
They're like,
like,
it's not recent, it's
not
fine, don't worry
Oh
about it.
now.
man.
It was
No,
then.
but I did see the short film one.
That's crazy.
I don't know if it was
And the AI,
a Jewish short
like
film or the other
AI
one, but-
photos too
Dude.
of like people like after like a bombing, and it's like clearly they have like extra fingers and shit.
Yeah.
Like you can't trust fucking anything you see online. We already
But that's
knew
the
that,
problem
but
is,
like
like-
it's getting scarier.
But again, going
Yeah.
back to where we worked, like we know it's not about being right, it's about being first.
Mm-hmm.
It's about getting those views, baby.
Yeah, clickety
Like-
click click. I
So
noticed too,
that's kind of
YouTube
the name
even
of the
said that they're
game.
not going to monetize any war-related content for that reason.
Oh wow. Well,
There
that's
was like
gonna-
a notice
that's
that I
gonna be a
got.
big blow. That's gonna be a big blow to
Yeah.
something, you know?
One of the channels. What if this happens?
Well, and what if this
Let's
country
come
won?
up with videos. What if
Oh,
Israel won?
God, man. I'll never forget.
Yeah, what was
I
the
actually-
craziest one you did?
I refused to do it.
Uh-huh.
They literally said, and this was it's when things started to get like a little, like, you guys remember like maybe 3-4 years ago, I mean there's always been a conflict there, but things were like starting to get a little amped up before
Mhm.
this whole thing on October 7th. There was a video of what if Israel and Palestine start World War III, and I was like, I'm sorry guys, I'm not doing
Bruh.
that.
Yeah.
Dude.
And they're like,
The
no, that's totally fair, like we
amount-
respect that. And they're like, hey, are you cool to do it? Yeah, all right, finish
Yeah,
the
yeah,
video.
yeah.
And they just had someone else do it, and I was
That's
like, hey,
crazy. They won't they won't shut
yeah.
the video idea down. They'll just
No.
find someone else
Yeah.
that will do
Yeah.
it, which is like,
and I
fuck.
will say
Man.
I watched it because I was curious to see. I'm not going to say who did it, but I
Yeah.
was curious to see what they said, and I think they presented it in a pretty unbiased way. Which, to be fair, I think it would have been hard for me to do that.
Sure. Yeah.
It's a little too close to the chest for me, but yeah, man, it was just like, it's just wild to me. I'm like, do we really have to do this right now? Like, are we really trying to capitalize on
Yeah.
this?
Like I had beef with this other company that I worked for where we had this big meeting when Kanye West was like at like his peak mental breakdown. Okay.
Yeah,
And there was the debate among everyone. It was pretty split of people being like, should we talk about him? Because he's all over the news right now and blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. And I kind of like went out on a limb and was like, I don't think we should. Like, it seems like he is having a mental breakdown. And I think contributing to that is immoral. Like, I get that his name brings in lots of views, but there are also plenty of other people that we could be
Right.
doing stories on and talking about and like highlighting, positive things that people are doing instead of
Right.
just being another channel that's talking about this guy having a
Yeah.
mental breakdown. I don't think it's right. And they were like, oh, well, like,
You
everyone
don't
else
get
is
it.
talking about it, so we have to talk about it. And if we don't talk about it, then they'll talk about it. I'm like, that's fine. Like, what? Like, everyone
Yeah.
else is killing people, so if I don't kill people, then blah, 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 blah. It's like, what the fuck?
Man,
What
that's
group
crazy,
think?
Johnny. I thought you were gonna say that they said, you know what? That's a good idea. Let's
That's a
let's
reasonable
do the
approach.
moral thing.
Yeah,
Let's
no,
not worry about the views.
it's fucked.
That would have been a shocker.
That would have been a shocker. I was just like, oh,
Ugh.
okay, sure. I was like, what did I even speak for? Like, why did you even
Yeah.
ask if you already knew
Yeah,
what
exactly.
you were gonna
Why
do?
even
Why
ask?
even ask? Just say, hey, this is what. At least that, like, the channel that you're talking about, they like were okay with you not doing it,
Yeah, but
but
they're like,
they
we're
just
still
went
doing it.
ahead and did it.
Yeah,
They,
yeah.
like,
It wasn't like, let's have a conversation about it. I agree with
yeah,
that.
because they
Yeah,
knew that they
stuck
wanted to
their
do it
convictions.
anyways. It's like,
Yeah.
good on you
Yeah.
guys. You stuck to your whatever your fucking warped morals were.
Yeah.
Paying for the new lease on a boat or something.
Oh, man.
Christ, where are we at, guys?
We
Well,
We're in a
are
great place.
we're flying through space
Yeah,
without a rocket ship, dude.
or a seatbelt.
But
Yeah.
We
yeah.
call it here, guys, on the the Israel-Palestine
Yeah.
conflict.
Anyway, so I'm really
Way to wrap the pod.
desensitized to all of it because I'll just watch the news about like all these people dying, and then I'm like, nice. All right, football's on.
Yeah. Oh, that video.
Just to bring it back to desensitization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then if a guy gets injured during the football game, you're
I'm
like,
like,
oh my God.
fuck.
bro."
His career is over.
My fantasy football team.
The amount of
Bro.
times I go from like, oh Jesus, that's the worst thing I've ever seen. Oh, kitty.
Yo.
Can't be good. Can't be good for our brains, folks. I'm gonna share. They moved all my shit around here on Zoom. Everybody go follow Jared. It's at Bronze7 on Instagram. Patrick at Fatrick with 2 eyes. And give it up for the Creative Imbalance who can make it to the show because he's sick as a dog. But go give him a follow anyways. And the Johnny Rogers Show. Yeah, go follow that budding Instagram account with a whole 298 followers. But we'll get there.
Hey man, slow but steady. That's it.
Yeah.
I haven't posted on Instagram. I literally just post when you repost. That's all I've been posting. Like I don't post.
Yeah, I saw that on
okay?
Pat's too. Just the last two
Yeah.
before North.
It's just like you get to a point like there's such a
Yeah.
long period of time. Again, given the job where I was much more active on Instagram and trying to be an influencer, this and that, then I'm like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah, honestly.
Like I
I
just
feel
wanna
like
live.
Instagram kind of ate itself alive. Like it was something
Yeah.
unique, and now it's just like videos. I put
Yeah.
funny gaming videos on my stories, and that's like it. Like I never post anymore. And I think even if I
Yeah.
was making content, I'd share it on Instagram, but I wouldn't expect any
Same,
traffic there. Like I think YouTube Shorts probably does better than
Yeah.
Instagram.
Well,
at this
TikTok,
point.
obviously,
1,000%,
but-
bro.
Yeah.
TikTok there's this weird thing that's happening, and I saw some other creator talking about this where you can get stuck in it's called like the 200 views trap. So like regardless of your
Interesting.
followers, regardless of like whatever, they only show it to a certain amount of people.
Right.
And if the
Right.
engagement isn't insane within those 200 people, they don't like show it to everyone else. You kind
just
of
get
watch
stuck
the
in that, like, little-
engagement die. So yeah, and if you look
That's-
at my TikTok videos, like literally
Yeah.
every video has like 250, 240, 260. It never breaks unless it's like one of the news videos that I did where it's something that people like
Right.
really want to like, they're searching for it, right? It's different. It's not getting shown to them. They're searching it. They're seeking it out.
You
So,
got to bust out to Kanye West, dude.
yeah, I got to start talking nonstop about Kanye. You guys,
You know what? You know what I see a lot actually that seems to do well, like is it doesn't matter if you're an artist or like a musician or whatever. A lot of people will make a post where they say like, "Yo, I'm having algorithm issues. Like if you can hit like or press buttons,
Yeah. If you could see
and-
this, drop
and
a
that,
comment.
yeah. And those posts
Yeah.
always seem to have blown up a bit. And I think
Yeah.
that there's a residual after effect of that
Interesting.
I would say it's at least worth trying. And if the post doesn't take off in the first like 30 minutes, you can just fucking delete it
Just
anyway,
delete
right?
it. The amount of times I just delete shit that doesn't
But
get
that's also the
my
crazy thing
ego.
I've heard, bro, is like people are like, "Oh yeah, you just post on TikTok and if it doesn't hit within X amount of time, just repost it." And I'm like,
Yeah.
I feel like that kind of defeats the
I
purpose of
hate
the whole
that.
thing though. Like,
Well,
Yeah.
it does, but it's changed, right? We're all playing games
Yeah.
with an algorithm now instead of
right.
just seeing chronological. That Gary Vee talks about that a lot. He said in an interview once he'll try like 10 different variants of a post, like deleting
Yeah.
it, adjusting it, and posting it before it
Mm-hmm.
takes off, or just scrapping it. And it's like, bro, are you kidding me? When you're posting like 7 or 10 things a day, you got one of your employees like he's like, fuck, it didn't hit. Like, maybe
Up,
let
down,
me
up,
try
down. Yeah,
a
fair
funnier
enough.
Bro.
graphic. Like, it's wild, man.
That's what, and
'Cause-
like it used to be like if the content is good, it'll make it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
and if it's not
like
making
early
it, then it's just
YouTube.
not good, right? But that's no longer even a thing. Like, because I
Yeah.
see terrible content with lots of views on it, and it's like, okay,
Hmm.
they've just like figured out a system to kind of like game
Yeah.
the algorithm a little bit.
I feel like you got to play ball now. The only way to win
Yeah.
is you have to get your viewers have to be engaging. You almost
Mm.
have like it's not even enough to just have an Instagram caption that's like, "Hey, tell me what your favorite
Right.
type of mustard is." Like it
Yeah.
has to be like you have to make a post that's like mustard sucks and get
Yeah.
people in the comments like
Yeah,
arguing.
yeah, yeah.
It does
Mustard
fucking
is
suck.
disgusting.
I hate mustard. I'm not even
Just let
joking.
people
It's
scream
literally
at you.
mustard is literally one of those. I always tell people like I'd rather eat dog shit than mustard. I fucking
Man,
can't
Uh,
stand
you
it,
never
dude.
had like a really good mustard? Because I'm not a fan,
a
but
good
I've
honey
had like a nice
Dijon.
mustard.
Gross, bro.
Damn,
Disgusting.
bro.
I
So
mean,
Fuck
make a
mustard.
TikTok about that,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and you're just gonna
Just call it
blow
fuck
off big
mustard.
time, bro.
We should all make a TikTok about why we hate
No,
mustard and
man, you got
see
to be
how it
more
does.
direct. Have it like the thumbnail is a message to mustard fans, and then the video
I
just
hate
starts
you and
out,
everything you stand for.
and you just start the video and look into the
We
camera
call
and be
them
like, "What the hell is
mustards.
wrong with you?"
Just call them
Shit.
mustards.
Holy crap, dude! Yeah, yeah. Just write like a 30
Oh my
second mustard
god,
rant and just
man.
see.
Oh,
But you got to make sure that it
I
hits
want to
like
do this
you
so
got to do
bad.
some hashtags so that it gets geared towards mustard fans.
Hmm.
That'll do it.
Just tap into the hate. The hate
And then
mark is real.
once that post blows up, hopefully your next few posts that are about what you want to make
Yeah,
will
yeah,
pick up
start to
on
get the
they'll
traction.
yeah. Some of that slop will like bounce over and stick to the
yeah.
other post.
Like
They're like,
your
hey,
all your shit about top 10 barbecue sauces or
this
whatever the
is
fuck you want to talk about.
this is the hate mustard guy. Let's see what he's talking about
Yeah.
football now. I actually agree with him.
Hey, I'm
Oh
a
my
Philly fan
god, dude.
too.
Oh shit.
Oh my god, dude.
That's so good. Well, another banger episode, guys. Appreciate
Yeah,
you
that's always
always
fun,
making the
bro.
time, hanging out.
Oh yeah, dude. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, yeah. I'll see you on 124.
Yeah, happy and healthy New Year,
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Happy holidays and Merry
Yeah.
Christmas and all that, you guys. Hope you have a
Oh,
good new year.
and your
Probably
New Year's
once.
resolution should be subscribing to my Patreon page. That's
Fucking right.
patreon.com/ the Johnny Rogers.
That's
It's
right.
only $1. Make that your resolution.
$1, bro. What do you do the dollar?
Bye,
Inflation,
everybody.
you can't you can't save a child anymore with $1 like you used to be able to back in my day.
Oh, we got to do the.
Oh, isn't it 3 though? I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I guess we could do 3. Here, let me
Maybe we
turn
should
off
all do
my.
this and just send it to Sean.
Just,
That's 3.
they're not gonna be able. I'm not gonna be able to post that. That what's it called? The
Can't do that,
thumbnail.
right? That's not. This isn't. You can't post this. A
Oh
thumbnail
yeah,
either.
that's bad. That's offensive now.
What is
We
that?
can't. It's a white power. The
Really?
remember the okie dokie symbol? It became see
Yeah.
my 3. That's a W and then the P. Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
People
but
are
what if I have
fucked.
what if I have the O out like this?
Doesn't matter, bro. That's
That's an
offensive.
emoji. This is an emoji. Like,
it's a hateful
so ridiculous,
emoji,
bro. So ridiculous.
We just do this.
yeah. What if I do it? What if I use this emoji?
Stop
but I
doing
have,
it.
like,
No.
what if
Bro,
I
you're gonna
use
get my
like
channel taken down.
Yeah,
what if I
imagine
use like
YouTube
the
just
yellow or
deletes
the
my
brown
channel.
skin emoji? Does that make it okay?
Oh my god.
Yeah. Then it's fine. It's totally
Okay.
fine if you
All
do
right,
that.
nice.
But I don't know. I'm not up lately on what the trends are. We can just do
I'll just switch back to the thumbs up then.
All right, I'll just do this. I guess.
3.
My hand's fucking awkward as shit.
Uh,
right into the lens. Tattooing on. All right.
Should have done
Peace.
3 in 1. This is because Sean's not here.
Yeah.
Longest outro
We're
ever.
setting a longest outro.
Seriously, we gotta get the fuck out of here. All right, thanks, boys.
Subscribe, hit that like button. Bye.
So long.
Yeah.
You've been listening to The Johnny Rogers Show. New episodes air every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.